May salt, sugar, processed, refined, there's a lot of talks these days about inflammatory food and dairy. Dairy is a highly inflammatory type of food, I believe. Do you want to just give us a little bit of insight into dairy and inflammation and how inflammation affects our health?
I experienced some of these problems with dairy myself. As a young child growing up, I was a great lover of milk, with no noticeable problems at first. But as I reached my teen years, the problems started. And these problems and allergies continued into my 20s. They manifest mostly as sneezing and wheezing episodes, with tight chests and stuffy nose continuously. When I finally learned about the dangers of dairy, I decided to change my diet and to eliminate dairy products completely, and in fact all animal products. As a result, the nose cleared up, the chest cleared up, and I've experienced amazing health benefits even in other areas. Dairy is a high-fat food.
And high-fat food is cholesterol.
Well, yeah.
So there's a danger in the
fact
first
that
place.
It's an animal food makes it a cholesterol food. All animal foods, all animal products have cholesterol in them.
All right.
So yes, absolutely. And you find that even with your low-fat milks and low-fat cheeses, these are only slightly different from the full-fat product. So it is high-fat. It also tends to cause allergies in people, and as you said, inflammation all over the body.
And inflammation is equal to an acid environment.
Absolutely.
And where an acid environment is, that is where diseases flourish.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
All right. So again, if you have issues with inflammation, with an acidness, you know, that heartburn, that indigestion, that reflux and all of that, try and minimize your dairy intake, or even try and just get it out of the diet for a few days and experiment on yourself and see if there's a difference in how you feel.
Absolutely. Another problem caused by dairy and inflammation and all of that is bone health, bone and joint health. Because you find that when you have a highly acidic environment in the body, because you need a highly acidic environment to digest that milk, to digest that animal protein, what happens is that your body's out of balance. It becomes acidic, so you need an alkaline to buffer your environment. And to do that, the body goes to the bones. And so calcium is leached from the bones so that your life can be saved. Because we cannot live if we in a highly acidic environment.
And if calcium is leached from the bones,
we start to have osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and so on.
It's like that door that is not oiled, and if the door is not oiled, it begins to squeak.
Yeah.
And that is the joint pains
The
and the
joints start to
bone
rust,
pains that we feel, and that is because of the highly acidic environment in the body, and the body uses up all the calcium. Now, May, please take us on. We spoke about all these negatives. There's got to be some positives. What should the plate look like for optimal health? We don't want to be part of the 38 million people that die every year. We want to, let me step back. Not just, we don't want to be part of the 38 million people that die, but we don't want to help the enemy that is out to steal, kill, and destroy our health. We don't want to work with him. We want to work with the one that wants us to have life in abundance.
Absolutely.
What should we do? What should the plate look like so that we can experience life in abundance?
Well, going back to that analogy of the car and the petrol, diesel, God created the body and He wrote the manual. We need only to abide by the guidelines that are clear as crystal in the Bible that can guide us in how we should eat and what we should put into our body. So when we're talking about what we can eat, if we go right back to Eden, the first diet that came to us, and fruit was there right at the beginning. And then, of course, later the vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds, all of these are very healthy for the body. And you will find that in these groups, you have enough protein. Vegetables are full of protein. You find that you have enough of the oils, the healthy oils. You find there's enough sugar, like in the fruit. You find there's enough fat, like in certain fruits and in the nuts and the seeds and so on. So what God has given us right at the beginning, in the manual, that is what we should use. Just as we would, whenever something is wrong with the car, we would consult the manual. And when something goes wrong with the body, instead of just taking a pill to ease the symptoms, we need to go back to the manual.
All right. Well said.
Follow this method and we will be much healthier.
Very, very practical. Make it even more practical for us. Take us to the breakfast plate.
The breakfast plate.
The makeup of a breakfast plate that is very simple for the viewer to understand the principles, probably more the principles than the detail. What should a breakfast plate compose of?
Well, for everybody it will be different, like you've said in the actual composition, the actual details. But basically, it would be good to have about 50% of your breakfast plate as fruit.
All right.
You're starting out the morning. Well, after you've had your water, you've had your flush for the morning. Just like your toilet needs to be flushed, your body needs to be flushed. You need to keep clean, and especially in the morning when your body becomes slightly more acidic in the morning. So it's good to drink a lot of water in the morning, have a good flush, and then later on, about 30 minutes after you're drinking, have a meal. 50% of that should be fruit, because fruit is full of fiber, full of water. It continues with the process of elimination, so it helps in that process as well. Then you should have about 30% grains, whole grains, nothing refined, no cornflakes and bran flakes. These are all refined foods.
Right. So oats,
you should try to get the healthiest
oats is an
grains.
example of a whole grain?
Oats is an example of a whole grain. Whether it's jungle oats or whole rolled oats, it's all fine.
Right.
Just don't use that quick cooking oats or what do they call it, oats so easy, and these flavored oats. They usually are full of sugar.
All right.
Yeah, so oats is a good one. Millie Meal is a good one if it's the yellow Millie Meal. I think we have a brand called Brypup.
All right, Brypup.
That's
all right.
a good one as well.
The coarse Brypup.
Yes, and then you have grains like millet and quinoa and amaranth. Those are not so common, but they are very, very healthy. Amaranth and quinoa are more seeds than grains, but they serve the same purpose.
Great.
And then you have sorghum and one or two others. Sorghum is maltabella.
All right.
And that's a whole grain, and that's very good.
All right. Okay, that's our
grains.
30%, you said,
Yes.
grains. So we have 50% of my breakfast should be fruit. 30% of my breakfast should be whole grains.
That's right.
There's 20% left.
The last 20% would be the protein portion of your breakfast plate. You don't need as much protein as we are made to believe. And a few nuts, some seeds, all of these things make
Peanut butter on the bread. You have your whole grain bread with peanut butter on the bread.
It's a sugar-free peanut butter. That would be good on your whole grain bread.
Right.
That's excellent.
Or if not sugar-free, that you at least don't see sugar as the second ingredient on the ingredients list. Let it be lower down.
Yeah.
Because the higher the ingredient is, the more percentage of that ingredient is in the product.
Yeah.
So the lower sugar is on the list of ingredients, the better it is. But point made is that you can get your protein from your peanut butter. You can get your protein from nuts. You can get your protein from those of us who have beans, for example, or chickpeas, whatever legume in the morning that is a protein, right? So there we have it. Just to sum up again, your breakfast plate. Now this is just to give you a guideline, an idea, what should I eat, what can I eat, what is good for my health, and that is 50% of breakfast should be fruit. Eat at least 5 servings of fruit per day. And a serving of fruit is what you can hold in the palm of your hand. So an apple, an orange, a banana or two, a handful of whatever that is smaller, blueberries or grapes, a handful of that. So World Health Organization recommends 5 servings of fruit. So when you start your breakfast with 50% of the breakfast fruit, let's say that is 3 fruits in the morning or 2 fruits. Somewhere throughout the course of the day, you've got to have the rest of the fruit. And this is, remember, a minimum recommendation or a requirement for us to keep our body in good shape as far as fruit is concerned. Right, and then there's the grains, and there's a variety of grains, as May is mentioned, and then your protein you'll find just anywhere and everywhere. So 50%, 30%, 20%. May, what does the lunch or the supper plate look like?
Again, it would be similar. It would be very similar. If you notice, the 50% of fruit is raw fruit. So try not to stew your fruit and say, okay, I've had my fruit. Try to have that fruit raw.
Right.
Same with the lunch plate. 50% again, raw vegetables. You can have some cooked vegetables, absolutely, but raw vegetables. So have a salad. Have a big salad with lots of leafy greens and tomatoes and carrots and all these nice celery and all these interesting things.
Right. And when
50%.
when you do your vegetables, the recommendation is that you lightly steam your vegetables.
Yes, we're talking about the cooked vegetables, yes. So you could have...
Your broccoli, your
Yes.
cauliflower.
You can have just about anything steamed, even sweet potatoes and butternut and so on.
Right.
Yes.
Your potato will probably go a little bit longer. You wouldn't want to
No, you
have
don't want
crisp,
a hard potato.
hard potatoes. That's right. But your basic, like your butternut, your broccoli, your cauliflower, these are all wonderful vegetables. That's very good for the. They're not very popular, may I say, but they're very healthy. And so,
Especially if they're just steamed. Because a lot of us like to add some butter and sugar to the pumpkin, you know. It makes it more delicious. Even to the sweet potato, they make this golden sweet potato. But with the sugar and the butter comes challenges.
Correct.
So it's better to have it
Correct.
steamed. It's better to have it stewed, or you know, however you'd like it. You can flavor it. There are many ways to give it flavor without adding risks.
wow. This is very practical, very, very practical information. And once again, we just want to make you aware that yes, there is the bad and the ugly, but there is the good as well. God has given us an abundance of good to keep our bodies in optimal health. As we have seen from this brief video clip, that the plate can be one of the biggest weapons of mass destruction. But if you make the right food choices, it can reverse those unfortunate conditions. Your wrong food choices will bring you lots of discomfort, disease, and even death. Yet the right food choices has the most amazing ability to bring healing, health, and happiness. Remember, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Your body is the dwelling place of God. You are not your own. He has bought you, not with silver or gold, but with His precious blood. He has made you to be the manager of your body. Manage it well. Watch what you put into your mouth. Be responsible and trust God to give you His grace to make the right, healthy choices so that you may experience life in abundance. God bless you.